So, super quick one. Like always, I'm never judgmental. I always say things to make people more aware of the reality that we live in. My reality is my reality, your reality is your reality, but in one way there are things that all humans have in common, like common sense, right? You don't hit women, you don't hit animals, and you know, I live by those rules, but that is my reality. But the thing what I actually want to go with this is that I have a little bit of statement that I made up from a summary, no, from a whole collection of meetings and talks with teachers. And again, I'm never judgmental, but I do say this thing, this little statement, not only a statement, I'm going to say multiple things that are simply something to consider. And especially when you do have children and you want them to be a little bit more successful maybe than yourself. And it's not that you're not successful, that's not what I'm saying. But you know, I assume that parents always want that their children do better than themselves. And this is about the teachers. What I noticed, and I talk with multiple teachers still on a regular basis from multiple countries, also moved to other countries to operate over there, but in the end it's all still the same. And what I noticed, a lot of teachers, and I'm talking about the public school ones, not about the higher level ones, the ones that do the private stuff, but also the private tutoring at home. I know those people. The thing is, from those teachers on the public schools, obviously they work with, let's say, low budget tools, but also this, they teach from books. And that's not the only thing. I think there is a danger in this because these books are pretty much outdated. Obviously, when you talk about mathematics and that kind of things that are not a lot, and that don't have a lot of freedom to wiggle around with, but you know, a lot of older stuff like, I don't know what, economy stuff and business teachers. You know, I went to those lessons when I was young. Totally bullshit. But I do understand when people force their children to go to school, their children get brainwashed by the fact that those teachings are the right way. And not only this, teachers, what I noticed, the majority of those that I talked with, 70% of them, and again, those are not the hard statistics, those are from my real life. Those people operate in multiple countries. I can mention the countries, so UK, Australia, Malta, Spain, Holland, Germany, and there was one more, Finland. And I asked them always the same question, you know, do you give the opportunity that your students can think for themselves? Do they have this kind of space? And again, obviously in the mathematics, or how you pronounce that word, there's not a lot of space for self-thinking, right? It's pretty much equation equals this and this. Again, I'm not some kind of hyper student when it's about school stuff, so if I'm saying something wrong, it's not intentional. It's simply because I'm, let's say, totally school numb. You know, I'm doing pretty much everything from the phone and just conducting business in multiple countries. But that's my thing. And that's why I share this kind of stuff. I was never into school. And it's not about that school is bad. Obviously, when you want to let's say, force your children into your same lifestyle, which is in general, you know, go to school, get a mortgage, get a wife, and get divorced, and get another wife, and then get another mortgage, and then step in your grave after you're 10 years consuming a lot of medications because you didn't have time to actually maintain your mental and physical health. Sounds very depressive and very diminishing, though. Yes, I know, but that's not what I mean with this. My content is always raw, real, always extracted from my real life experience, my talks. I'm obsessed with talking and speaking with people. I'm doing this 365 days a year for decades. So I do know a little bit about, what the world is about. But obviously, what I always say, as somebody who is obsessed with it, it would take me another 1 million lifetimes to really understand people. So I'm not saying that I'm knowing all the right answers. I'm not saying this. But I'm saying these kind of things to make people think. When you go to school, and for example, I also went to school. I hated it, and I was totally not good at it. And the thing is, and I'm not saying this again that I'm against school, blah blah blah. It's all good when you're good with the normal lifestyle. But if you want a little bit more from life, and I do believe that people always need some sort of challenges, keep on going, because otherwise you start to lose the life out of your eyes. And I talk about this many times, and I'm gonna mention this again. When I saw people last year in the subway, I did a subway thing just to see what's going on, because I traveled with somebody else. She needed to go somewhere, so I just thought, hey, let's jump in the subway. And it was a very sad thing to see, because most people doing this every single day, 1 hour to their work backwards, probably also preparing. So you take showers and then you go into the subway. That is not a life. That is more than 2 hours wasting of your life, that you don't have a freedom, and you need to do this to get there, and then you still need to do the job, and then you're coming totally mind-numbed back. That's not something what you want. If you really think about it, you go for 10 years to school, or I don't know what, and then you do for 30 years work. Even if you would lose your work, your whole life goes to hell, because your mortgage and everything is running. You got a lease car and all that normal people bullshit. And I'm saying this again, a lot of people also think that they need to buy stuff to show the world. But this is the thing. If you're a person who chases, let's say, materialistic stuff, who is going to see it? Who is really going to see it? And who is actually going to remember it? Maybe your mommy and daddy and your uncle, they would say one time, oh, nice car. And do you think when they eat every single day that they think about, oh, he has a nice car, he has a nice car? No, nobody actually really cares. And I think people who chase only materialistic stuff, they will know it when they look into the mirror. And I'm not saying this to look down on people, not at all. It's great that you drive a great car, but you know what I always say, the assets that you actually, let's say, buy, what is the real reason that you buy them? Is it for yourself because you like to drive around in a nice car, or do you like the attention from other people? What is the real reason? And then in the meantime, maybe you grow here and there as a beer belly, and then your beautiful wife is playing with her phone the whole day. There are some things I think they should have priority, and that is your inner, building the character. That's why I'm also showing all my content as is. I'm doing the live streams, and not only this, when it's about my live streaming thing, and also about my vlogging, everything is raw, real, and unedited. I've never tried to make myself look like a freaking angel. I just speak the way I speak, and I think that I somehow speak reality. And I think when people go to school, they are aware of the fact that they're pretty gonna be stuck in some sort of captured, fabricated structure of life. And I'm not saying him using those wordings that the other people use, stuck in the matrix. I don't believe in this, because I'm going to tell you why. I think no matter what level people are operating in, and also levels that we are totally not even aware of, but still everybody is a human. And what I always think when people, for example, speak bad about the government, I always say this: those people did something very good to get in those positions. And I always also say this about humans: nobody wakes up in the morning when they open their eyes and say, hey, now I'm gonna do something bad to hurt 1,000 people because of my decisions. I don't believe this. Maybe they do, but then the world will be a very evil place. And yes, I understand there are horrible things going on in the world, but if I would handle it, also when it's about horrible things in the world, there are a lot of people who preach about that we have to think about those people who are suffering now, I do understand this, but some people who get really in the very extreme, you know, preaching all that kind of stuff, they don't do anything about it besides just spreading the word. And this is another thing, when it's about spreading the word about something that is now trending, they don't gonna spread the word when it's not trending anymore. So what is the real intent? Always ask the real intent. When it's about teachers, I'm gonna talk. And if you're watching this, you know, I spoke with one teacher. See, because I'm giving away everything for free, and this teacher straight away goes into, you know, that it is a scam and everything. First of all, how do I scam people? I speak raw and real on my videos, and next to that I give away my work structures. I operate in multiple countries. Everybody can do it from their phone, so there's nothing scammy about. But this is the thing, that is very close-minded thinking. You know, somebody says hi, so hi, but that is very close-minded thinking. And if you're an authority person as a teacher, and you vibrate this in the world that your students need to think like in a box. This is the way. This is the book that I'm gonna remember words from, and that's it. And then you go to your job, and then you're surprised that your brain is totally fried already. Huh? Really think about it, because I see so many people going to school and then speak with them. You know, I speak also with a lot of younger children. I always ask them, well, what do you want? What do you really want? What do you feel that you want? And a lot of people say, yeah, my parents don't allow me to do this and that, blah blah blah. And I've never tried to change anybody's mind, but I try to make people aware of the fact when people reach 65, somebody else says hi. So when you reach 65, you don't want to live a life of regret. That's why I speak the way I speak. I'm 47, right? I live a life of freedom. You know, I can do whatever the freak I want, how I want, and when I want. And the reason that I'm shooting the videos the way I do is simply I show people reality. Put in the work every single day. Everything that you want in life, never say what you want. Only put in the habits. If you want a better girlfriend, or, you know, a boyfriend, if you're, I don't know, you understand what I mean? Put in the work. You know, put in the work every single day, up front, and the rest will come. Like everything, put in the work. You want to meet higher level people, start educating yourself in a way that actually makes you more valuable, you know? And what I always tell when I speak with parents, I always say, focus on one thing. Teach your children how to communicate their skills, communicate their boundaries. You know, when I was young, I was a total Looney Tune. You know, I started selling when I was 11. So you understand, at one point I always had more money, but more money, if you're totally a money idiot, you know, I gave away also most of it, but, you know, because for me it's always the thrill. So I was a total idiot. I think you can get up, but if you watch the few hundred vlogs, you can pretty much say that I was a Looney Tune. But anyway, now I'm 47. I'm giving away all the work structures away for free. A 12-year-old can do it. The youngest one who started, actually, he was 14, but he was the son of one of my business partners, and he already made more in a morning than most people would make in a month. And not bragging over it, he did it. Anyway, I didn't speak with him for a long time. Maybe he doesn't do anything with it anymore, because I closed one project in Dubai also. And not because of this and that reason, you know, I'm not into the new stuff. I don't give a shit. If it feels good, it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, I cut it off. I also sold once a business in Holland simply because it didn't feel good. Did it make a lot of money? Yes, it did. But for me, that's not important. Of course, everybody needs money. But now I'm doing everything from the phone. I'm giving away all the work structures, and then 12-year-old can start doing it. I always say this. I started selling when I was 11, door to door, knocking on the door, cleaning a bicycle. If somebody would have given me the strategies that I have now, the work structures, then I would be ridiculous. But anyway, if I would have, then I wouldn't be in this position that I'm now. Anyway, I thought to drop this thought about teachers, that you have to be very careful where what you let into your brain, and then what kind of attitude. If you also really take a good look at most teachers, how is the self-care? And it is not to be judgmental, and I'm also not claiming to be anything. The thing is, just be very careful what you let into your brain. and who is saying it, how they say it, and what is the real intent, because a lot of people simply don't know. And let me tell you this specific teacher from yesterday that I talked with, and again, if you're watching this, it's nothing against you. The thing is, she made one statement. She is from Australia, and she said Australia is bigger than Europe. Well, I did a quick search and it's not. The thing is, and that is all great, of course I'm not going into some kind of thing, you were wrong. I never tell people that they're wrong. It's good that they think like this, but I extracted one lesson. If this person says something like this and gives this attitude to her students, then I think what is going on with the next generation? You create a whole generation of people who are misinformed and also taught that they shouldn't look outside the box. Because when I said, I'm giving away everything for free, she said, oh yeah, that's a scam. And again, I didn't go into a debate with her, because that is endless. People who have very quick negative statements, I'm never going into any debate. Like I said, I'm never gonna change people their minds or forcing people to do this and that, blah blah blah. In the end, it wouldn't make me more or less money. But if people would take a little bit of the stuff that I would say, that it would really open their opportunities, make their life feel a little bit more fulfilled, probably they will have higher quality spouses. And I'm gonna close this one also, and this live stream. But one thought about this, because I'm also speaking with a lot of guys who are in the dating game. They say I'm doing very well, and then they send me pictures of the women, and this is nothing against women, also vice versa. I also have a lot of female friends that I speak with, and then I say, you deserve way much better. And it's not to be judgmental that they look. Okay, 2 days ago a guy sent me a message. See, look I'm dating this woman, and that woman looks like a man. I said, are you very sure that it's a woman? And I said also, I'm not trying to disrespect, but I do believe that a lot of people deserve more if they put a little bit more work into it. That's what I want to say. And also open your eyes and open your ears to what people try to force upon you, especially when you go to school. When you go to school and you listen to all the bullshit that is actually read from a book, and again, nothing against school thing, but if you want more from life, you shouldn't listen. Books, things that are ways of living that are taught from books that exist for ages, they are not going along with all the great things that are possible. And like I said, I'm doing everything from the phone. If I would, I'm 47. If I would have listened when I went to school to this guy about business teachings, I would also probably end up like a teacher, going to school on a bicycle, on sandals, and tell the world how to do business. I think that's very irresponsible. And not only this, I think the teachers by themselves were also totally brainwashed, not familiar what, that people are actually people, children are young adults, they need the proper guidance from a person who actually did it, been there, done that kind of stuff. Not the kind of person who went to the university how to teach a little bit people, force some knowledge into their brains, and also that they actually learn how to rattle up some lines that are necessary to graduate, and then you got a piece of paper, and that gives you the access to maybe $5,000 a month. Now, if you also read, let's assume you do $3,000 a month, so your life is $100 per month worth. No, I think that is totally not the purpose for living on this planet. But that is me. Anyway, I want to say this very quickly, because I noticed this, and yesterday this last teacher that I spoke with, she made me really think about the attitude of teachers, and that's a dangerous thing. Whole generations, they listen to teachers. Obvious, like I always say, only 1% of the planet actually want to do something more with their life, and the rest will keep on complaining about the government. But I'm speaking to you, the person who probably wants to do something, and the things that I'm saying and the way I'm saying things is also for only one reason. I only want to speak to those 1%ers that think a little bit outside the box, but they don't have the guidance, and also they don't see their assumptions confirmed by people like me. I live a life of freedom. I live a life of discipline and high structure and obsession with spreading my work structures. And not only this, I'm showing people training outside in all 4 seasons, because I simply don't give a rat's ass about emotions and or that I would be in muscle pain. I don't take rest days. And again, I'm never bragging over here, but I'm 47 and I'm putting in the work. And if you put in the work, your life will be fulfilled. Your network gets way much more solid. What I also always say, get rid of the rotten apples. Get rid of them, because a lot of people do keep hanging around with people who are so poisonous for their soul and character. And everybody knows, everything what feels negative in your gut, you think, no, I visit this person or that group of people. They don't make me feel excited. If you not go away feeling excited from the people that you meet, and then there's something wrong, in my opinion. The 100% trusted people that I get when we meet, it's always value, it's always localize some problems and then putting in the solutions, and it's always excited to meet, but also to go away, because it leaves us with things to think about. See, and that is actually more growth focused, and not everybody has those people yet. But if you act exactly the same as the people around you, you bring no extra value to the table. I think it's very important as an individual that you become more valuable every single day. Maybe every single week for normal people, maybe every single month. But me, I'm obsessed, so I'm doing this every single day, 18 hours a day. I'm getting up at 5:15 and then it's go time. But anyway, teachers, if you're a parent or whatever, you go to school, all the stuff, really think about it. Look at those books. How old are those books? What are you going to do? You're going to have a fixed salary, so they teach you how to work for 40 hours a month and then get paid. That's what they teach you. They're not going to teach you how to actually start thinking using your brain in a way that goes outside the box, but also is going to be customized to your own personality. Because I'm telling people how to do this. You know, every individual, every business that I'm working with has their own character, their own needs, their own value. Nothing is the same. There is no, I don't believe there is an A to B thing and that's it. A set of, a specialized set character. Okay, when you go in a very high level stuff, okay, but in general, I don't believe that there's a one line thing. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, be careful to who you listen to, what kind of food you consume. Just observe yourself. Like I always say, be very judgmental to yourself. Improve it, get rid of some bad habits, implement some structured structures that very beneficial for your prosperity, and get rid of the rotten apples. And if you're at school, at one point when I was at school, I was so fed up with the bullshit. I was also skipping school for three years, so I was with very young people at school. But the thing is, at one point I slammed my fist on the table and I walked away and said, "This is nothing." I was sitting in a marketing class, and the thing is, and I said, "I gotta go. This is all bullshit. This is going nowhere." Anyway, again, if you love school, good for you. If I were you, I would only use it for networking. Although, what I also think, what I always say, never swim in a pool where everybody has the same mindset. At school, everybody has the same mindset. School, mortgage, debt. If you go to dating events, everybody lacks one skill. It's simply they cannot get dates, simply because they lack communication skills and or discipline to put in the work to actually meet more people. When I talk about discipline, the reason that I'm training is simply to keep my brain hyper. And not only this, I'm already hyper for myself, but that's simply because I'm putting in the work for decades and I'm obsessed with growth. I'm almost born with it. And I'm not bragging over here. So anyway, I want to close this. And if you like what I said or hate what I said, just leave a comment. You know what? In the end, it doesn't matter. And you know, when it's about my videos, everything is raw, real, and all that, unedited. And the thing is, now I'm 47, I'm gonna pump out videos more and more until the day I'm dead. So now I'm 47, this year I will be 48, so I got 52 years to go. Yeah, but who says that you're gonna be 100? What if I don't? Who gives a rat's ass? Ciao for now.